Night rests over Hawkins like a heavy blanket, but it is not a peaceful night. The streets are empty, lights flicker in lonely windows, and far in the distance a low rumble rolls through the dark, like a storm that never reaches the town. The wind blows across broken roads and cracked sidewalks, carrying dust, leaves, and the memory of all the things that have already gone wrong here. For a moment, everything stands still, as if the whole town is holding its breath, waiting for something it knows is coming. Above Hawkins, the sky does not look normal anymore. Thin red lines pulse behind the clouds, like veins under skin. Sometimes the red flashes brighter, as if lightning is trapped on the other side, trying to break through. The sound that follows is not thunder. It is deeper, stranger, like the growl of something waking up. Street lamps buzz and fade, one by one, leaving long stretches of road in cold shadow. A bike lies on its side near the curb. A school sign swings back and forth with a slow, tired squeak. There is no one there to fix it. No one there to hear it. The camera moves past the empty homes, the quiet stores, the closed doors, curtains half open, a TV screen glowing blue in a dark room where no one is sitting, a family photo frame face down on a table. On the edge of town, near the woods, the ground is split. A long, jagged crack cuts through the dirt and broken asphalt, like a wound that never closed. From deep inside it, a faint red glow leaks out, steady and patient. The air above the crack shivers, twisting the view, as if the world is not sure what shape it should be anymore. That low rumble grows nearer. It sounds like many things at once. The echo of the past, the hint of footsteps that are not human, the pulse of something alive on the other side. For a second, the noise stops. The world is quiet. Then, from somewhere far beneath Hawkins, there is a sharp, ugly screech. Like metal tearing, or a creature crying out in anger. The crack in the ground widens just a little, enough for a thin stream of red light to flash upward. The earth shakes. Dust falls from an old "Welcome to Hawkins" sign as it creaks on rusty bolts. In the stillness that follows, a voice cuts through the dark, calm but full of warning. It does not shout. It does not need to. It feels like it has been here since the first gate opened, watching every fight, every loss, every child who refused to run. It speaks as if it is telling a story that was always going to end this way. It tells you that every ending needs a starting point, and this is it. Hawkins has used up all its chances. The doors that should have stayed closed are weak again. The thin line between this world and the next is fraying, thread by thread. The wind picks up, blowing across empty swings in the park, making them sway as if ghosts are gently pushing them. A lone dog barks in the distance, then falls silent. The red glow from the crack pulses in time with the unseen heartbeat of the upside down. Shadows stretch in wrong directions. Somewhere, far beyond what you can see, something heavy moves. It is not rushing. It is not afraid. It knows the town. It knows the people. It has been here before, in pieces and whispers and nightmares. Now, it is almost ready to step through once more. As the sound returns, deeper and stronger than before, one last shot hangs on the edge of town. The broken sign, the cracked road, the trembling ground. You can feel it in your chest now, that mix of fear and strange, stubborn hope that has followed Hawkins for years. The voice returns, softer this time, but clearer than ever, speaking of choices, of sacrifices, and of a final stand that cannot be avoided. The night grows darker, the red light grows brighter, and you know, without seeing a single face, that the last adventure is about to begin. The first sign that something is terribly wrong is not loud. It is not a monster roaring or gates ripping open. It is a quiet vibration that slips under every door in Hawkins. A gentle tremble that makes picture frames tilt and loose nails rattle in their wood. At first, it feels like nothing more than a passing shiver, the kind the town has learned to ignore. But this time, the shaking does not fade. It grows, it spreads through the floorboards, climbs up the walls, and rests heavy in every room. Like a warning, the earth is trying to speak out loud. Street by street, Hawkins begins to bend under a pressure no one can see. The cracks in the ground stretch farther, forming jagged paths like roots of a dead tree. The air itself feels wrong, thicker, colder, swirling with a strange haze that drifts through alleys and across parking lots. It moves in slow curls, almost graceful, but carrying something poisonous inside it, something from a place that was never meant to touch this world. Over by the lake, the water is no longer calm. Ripples circle outward even though there is no wind. The surface twists as if something beneath it is turning over, trying to break through. A single fish floats upward, lifeless, its body marked with dark lines, like veins of the upside down. Moments later, more begin rising, one after another, forming a silent layer over the lake. The sky above grows dim, clouds rolling in with unnatural speed, swallowing the sunlight in a matter of seconds. Homes flicker with power surges, lamps fade to orange, brighten suddenly, then buzz out. Static swims across every screen: televisions, radios, anything that can transmit a signal. The noise is sharp and chaotic, but underneath it, if you listen closely, there is something else. A pattern? A rhythm. Almost a voice, but not quite formed. It feels like someone or something is trying to speak through the wires, pushing its presence into the human world. A cold pressure sweeps through the town, making every window pane hum and every light tremble in its glass. At the high school, lockers slam open without anyone touching them. Papers fly off desks, swirling through hallways like leaves caught in a storm. A basketball left on the court starts to roll on its own, spinning slowly before coming to an abrupt stop, as if hitting an invisible barrier. The silence that follows is sharp, heavy, and unsettling. The kind of silence that makes you feel watched no matter where you stand. The air near the edges of Hawkins begins to distort, bending and twisting like heat rising off pavement, except this is cold, freezing cold. Breath turns to mist. Grass frostbites in seconds. Small animals flee into the woods but stop suddenly when the ground trembles again, stronger this time. A deep groan rises from underground, the sound of something ancient pushing upward. Trees shiver. Birds erupt from branches and disappear into the dark sky. People begin to gather outside their homes, confused, frightened, pointing to the unnatural glow creeping over the horizon. It is faint at first, a soft red pulse flickering like a heartbeat, but with every passing minute, it grows brighter and more intense, rising and falling in slow waves. The pulse seems to sync with the tremors underfoot, each beat sending a fresh ripple across the ground. The air vibrates, carrying a low hum that feels like it is burrowing into the bones of the town. Then, without warning, the hum stops. The earth goes still. For a moment, Hawkins stands in perfect silence. Children look at their parents. Neighbors glance at one another. The red glow dims, almost disappearing, and then the world splits open. A thunderous crack tears across the landscape, sharp and violent, echoing through every street. The ground yanks apart, breaking open in long, crooked lines that reveal a blinding red light beneath the surface. The light shoots upward, painting the sky in hues of crimson and shadow. The cracks spread faster, racing toward houses, roads, and forests. Anything in their path trembles, shakes, and begins to fall apart. Hawkins is no longer just a town. It is becoming a battlefield, one caught between a world desperately trying to hold together and a darkness that refuses to stay buried any longer. In the middle of all the chaos, while Hawkins cracks and groans like a world trying to split itself apart, a familiar light flickers inside the old Wheeler basement. Dust shakes from the ceiling as the tremors roll through the house, but the basement stands steady, almost as if it remembers how many battles were planned within its walls. The air is thick, the floor cold, and the smell of old books and wires fills the room. It feels like a place frozen in time, waiting patiently for the people who once made it the heart of every fight. One by one, they arrive not with smiles or loud greetings, but with the heavy steps of people who understand what is happening. The door creaks open, letting in a slice of gray light from outside. The first figure hesitates before stepping in, wiping rain and dirt from their jacket. Another follows close behind, shoulders tense, eyes scanning the room as if searching for old memories hidden in corners. They do not need to speak to know why they're here. The town is calling them back, pulling them together whether they are ready or not. The basement feels smaller than they remember. Maybe it's the dust, maybe it's the weight of everything they've lost and everything they still fear. Old posters peel from the walls. The D&D board sits untouched, and notebooks filled with sketches of creatures and theories lie where they were left long ago. Even though years have passed, nothing in this room feels outdated. Everything here still matters. Everything here is a reminder that they have fought before and survived. As they gather around the table, the tremors outside grow stronger, sending a soft vibration through the floorboards beneath their feet. They steady themselves without comment. Each of them knows the other feels the same thing. The pressure building beneath Hawkins. The pull of a darkness that refuses to stay buried. Someone reaches into a backpack and pulls out a map of the town. The edges are worn, and new lines have been drawn in red, marking places where strange events have already started. They spread the map out slowly, flattening it with shaking hands. The memories return in flashes. Bike rides under summer skies. Late night warnings whispered in panic. Friends missing. Friends found. Friends lost. They do not say any of this out loud. but it hangs in the air like a ghost resting on their shoulders. They understand each other without speaking. They always have. It's the one thing the darkness never managed to break. One of them leans over the map, tapping a finger against a point where a crack was seen growing into the street. Another points at the lake, remembering the dead fish floating like a message no one wanted to read. Someone else circles the woods, where strange cold patches have been appearing. The room fills with quiet determination. These are not the kids who once hid from shadows, these are the same people, but older, sharper, shaped by everything they've endured. A small tremor shakes the basement again, this one stronger, making a stack of old board games slide a few inches. No one jumps. They simply exchange a look, the kind that says, "We don't have time. We need to move." But there is something deeper in that shared silence too, something unspoken, something heavy. This fight won't be like the others. The stakes are different now, bigger. Final. One of them pulls out a small device, handmade, patched together with wires and metal bits. It's not perfect, but it's something. Another person has brought notes. Pages filled with rushed handwriting and symbols that look eerily similar to the ones drawn by Will years ago. Someone else has a flashlight, batteries taped to the side. None of them say it, but each item placed on the table feels like a piece of hope in a world falling apart. The room pulses faintly with the red glow leaking through the window. Outside, the clouds twist, forming shapes that seem almost alive. A low rumble spreads across Hawkins again, deeper than the last. It feels like the ground itself is calling them together one last time. They stand in a quiet circle, and though no words are spoken, every heart in the room beats with the same truth. They did not choose this, they never wanted it, but they are the ones who know the darkness best. They are the ones who have faced it and refused to break, and now, as Hawkins trembles and the world bends under the weight of what's coming, they know exactly what they must do together. Again, for the last time, the storm over Hawkins thickens, twisting the sky into a churning, colorless mass. But deep inside the buyer's new home, far from the basement and far from the others, Will sits alone, gripping the edge of his bed so tightly his knuckles turn white. The house is quiet, too quiet, as if the walls themselves are listening. A faint chill hangs in the air, crawling across the floorboards and wrapping around Will's ankles like a thin thread of smoke. He doesn't move. He doesn't dare. He knows this feeling too well. It's the same cold that once dragged him into the darkest corner of his life. The one place he swore he'd never return to. He tries to focus on the room around him, the soft hum of a lamp, the flicker of a nightlight, the framed drawings he once made of better days, all small scenes of his friends laughing, his family whole, summers without fear. But the drawings blur as something else pushes into his mind. A pressure builds behind his eyes, slow at first, then sharp enough to make him gasp. He clutches his chest as a deep, familiar ache spreads through him, the kind that doesn't feel like pain from the body, but pain from someplace much deeper. The air crackles, a low, rising thrum pulses through the room, vibrating against the glass windows. Will's breath turns unsteady, his heartbeat quickens. And then it begins, an old sensation returning with terrifying clarity. His neck tingles. The back of his spine stiffens. The upside-down's cold breath brushes against him like an unwelcome hand. The world around him seems to dim, as though something is pulling him out of reality and into a place he hoped was gone forever. He closes his eyes, hoping it will fade, but the darkness behind his eyelids is worse. Shapes move inside it. Shadows shift. Something enormous stirs in the distance. Will tries to pull away, tries to anchor himself back into the safety of his room, but the connection grips him harder, dragging him deeper into the vision. His hands tremble as the sound of the real world disappears, replaced by a thick, humming silence, broken only by the faint beat of something alive. Then he sees it, not with his eyes, but with his mind, just like before. A massive, twisting figure forming out of smoke and shadow. Its limbs stretch across the ruined landscape of the Upside Down, reaching through clouds of ash that swirl like storm winds. Its body is incomplete, shifting in glitching patterns, trying to hold shape but constantly splitting apart and reforming. Yet its presence is unmistakable. The air bends around it, the ground cracks beneath it. The creature does not walk. It looms, towering above everything, like a god carved from nightmares. Will tries to breathe, but the vision tightens around him, holding him captive. The creature lifts its head slowly, as if sensing him. Its eyes glowed to burning points of red that pierce through the distance and lock onto him with horrifying precision. Even in a vision, Will feels the force of its gaze. It presses against him, heavy and suffocating, like invisible hands closing around his throat. He wants to shout. He wants to run. But he can't. He's frozen in place, trapped between worlds. The creature moves closer, its form stretching like smoke in a storm. The closer it gets, the louder the humming grows. It vibrates through Will's bones, through every fragile piece of him. And then the voice comes. Not spoken, not heard, felt. A whisper that fills his mind, slipping into every corner, every memory, every fear. It curls around him like ice creeping over glass. A whisper that sounds like it knows him, because it does. It says his name, not with warmth, not with recognition, but with hunger, with ownership. Will flinches, grabbing the sides of his head as the echo spirals through him. He had thought the connection faded. He had hoped the darkness had finally let him go. But now he understands something he never wanted to admit. It never left. It was waiting, watching, growing strong enough to reach him again. The creature lifts its hand, stretching its fingers as if inviting him closer, or pulling him in. The air around Will shakes, distorting like heat waves, except it's freezing cold. The ground beneath him and the vision splits open, revealing a pulsing red core that beats like a monstrous heart. His breath shudders. He sees other shapes. No veins crawling like veins across the ruined sky, lightning flashing in slow, unnatural bursts, and the distant silhouette of Hawkins, broken and sinking into shadow. The creature's whisper coils tighter around his mind, merging with his heartbeat until he can't tell which is which. He tries to pull away, but the connection is stronger than ever, dragging him further, deeper. And then, suddenly, the vision snaps. Will falls forward, gasping, sweat pouring down his face. The room around him returns. The lamp flickers, the nightlight glows softly, but the chill remains. The ache remains, the knowing remains. He realizes, with sinking dread, that the creatures of the Upside Down are no longer crossing into his world. They are already inside him, and they remember everything.